Okay, so we've got this really interesting, maybe even alarming stack of research in front of us. It's all about American cognitive health.
Mm.
And there's this weird paradox, right? We're like more educated than ever. We have all this information literally at our fingertips.
Yeah, instantly.
Exactly. And yet, this research seems to be saying, well, that our basic ability to think deeply, to really reason things through, might actually be declining.
It's definitely a serious concern that's being raised here. And when we talk cognitive health, we mean the real basics,
Yeah.
your ability to reason, remember things accurately, make sound decisions.
Crucial stuff.
Absolutely. And, the U.S. has historically been this powerhouse of innovation, largely because of that collective brain power. But these sources,
Mm-hmm.
they're suggesting we might actually be seeing a measurable deterioration nationally.
And those measurements, wow, they really grab you. There was this huge nationwide poll, right?
Yeah.
And it showed the number of adults saying they have significant cognitive problems like serious memory issues or just being constantly exhausted by decisions.
Decision fatigue, yeah.
That jumped pretty significantly from what, around 5% to over 7% in only a decade.
That's a lot of people. Hundreds of thousands more feeling that struggle.
But here's the really wild part, the thing that makes you sit up.
Right. It's who is driving that increase.
Yeah,
You'd naturally think, okay, that's probably driven by the older population.
makes sense.
But no, the sources are super clear on this. The biggest jumps, they were among young adults. We're talking 18 to 39 years old.
Wait, 18 to 39, that's not the group you'd expect from memory loss and things like that?
Exactly. It flips the script. This isn't just about aging. It points towards something systemic, something tied into maybe the way modern life is structured, especially for that generation that grew up totally digital.
Okay, hold on. Why that group specifically? Is it just the screens? Or is there something else putting pressure on them more than, say, someone in their late 40s or 50s?
That's really the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it's
That's
probably not just screens, though that's a big piece. And it seems to be this perfect storm. You've got the digital environment demanding constant, shallow attention. Plus, all the other stresses hitting that age group hardest. They're launching careers, dealing with huge financial pressures, student loans, housing costs,
Yeah, it's intense.
and they're plugged in, basically all day long,
Mhm.
into systems designed for quick hits, not deep thought. Their mental energy is just being constantly drained
Yeah.
by the speed of it all.
Okay, so let's unpack that. The shift in habits. Because the research lays out some really dramatic changes in how we spend our time.
Hmm.
We're reading less, definitely sleeping less, and just staring at screens way more. Trading focus for, what, little bursts of stimulation?
Look, the reading stat alone is staggering. It's
Mhm.
maybe the clearest sign of how our attention is being, rewired.
What was it again?
In just 2 decades, the number of Americans who read for pleasure, just reading a book for fun, dropped by over 40%.
40%? That's huge.
It is. And reading, especially sustained reading, like a novel or complex article, that's like the brain's primary workout for deep focus and analysis.
So when you stop doing that workout, what actually happens in the brain? Is it like a muscle getting weak?
That's a good analogy. Our brains are incredibly adaptable. They mold themselves to what we ask them to do.
Right.
So if you swap out the slow, kind of effortful process of reading a dense book
Yeah.
for the constant dopamine drip of refreshing feeds or skimming headlines, you're literally training your brain to value speed and novelty above all else.
Hmm.
The neural pathways needed for patience, for holding complex ideas, for filtering distractions, mainly in the prefrontal cortex, they just don't get used as much. They sort of atrophy.
So it's not that we're getting dumber necessarily. It's more like we're losing the mental stamina for hard thinking.
Precisely. You
Okay.
nailed it. We're optimizing for scanning, not for sinking in. And that means sacrificing what the researchers call quality cognitive engagement. That's the hard, sometimes slow, deep thinking you need to solve really new or tricky problems.
Right.
And you see this weird disconnect, right? Cognitive quality seems to be dipping even while more people are getting degrees.
Yeah, that's the paradox we started with. More diplomas, but maybe less mental muscle to use them.
It's a possibility raised by this research. You get the credential, but maybe lack the underlying cognitive habits to really leverage that education effectively out in the world.
That is. Yeah, that's a bit chilling. All that time and money on education, but the habits needed to make it stick are maybe eroding outside the classroom walls.
And we have to connect this to the bigger picture, too. This isn't just about individual phone habits. The sources are clear. This cognitive trend is tangled up with huge systemic societal factors.
Right, it's like an environmental issue for the brain.
Exactly. It's not happening in a vacuum.
So what are those bigger factors the sources point to? It seemed like a whole cascade.
Yeah, it's a list. Things like rising inequality, worries about the environment, chronic stress, definitely more loneliness, rising obesity rates.
Okay, that's a lot. How do things like inequality or loneliness connect biologically to how well we can think? Seems like a jump.
It connects through stress and inflammation, primarily. High stress, whether it's financial, social, whatever, triggers cortisol release. Chronically high cortisol,
Yeah.
well, it actually damages the
Which
hippocampus,
is key here.
memory, and rational decision-making.
Hmm.
At the same time, you have rising social isolation.
Mm-hmm.
We're spending more time alone, often indoors, often motionless.
Mm-hmm.
When you lose that daily interaction with diverse people and ideas what you might call cognitive friction, your ability to do complex group thinking can weaken. You're just in your own bubble, often online with people who already agree with you.
And the physical side. Obesity, not moving much. That's not just about heart health. It affects the brain, too.
Oh, absolutely. Big connection there. Moving your body triggers the production of something called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor.
Uh-huh.
Think of it like fertilizer for your brain cells. It helps build new connections. When we spend hours sitting still, BDNF levels drop. That directly impacts learning, memory, adaptability.
So it's all connected. The stress, the isolation, the sitting still. It's like they conspire to starve the brain of what it needs for that high-level thinking.
Pretty much, yeah. They create an environment where deep thought becomes much harder to sustain.
So taking a step back,
Mhm.
what does this mean for the country as a whole? Why isn't this just a personal problem, like forgetting where you put your keys? Why does it matter on a national scale?
Well, because collective cognition, our shared ability to think clearly and solve problems together, that's the invisible foundation of everything, isn't it?
Hmm.
Democracy, the economy, scientific progress.
Okay.
It all rests on our ability to reason, to plan long-term, to handle complex challenges,
Hmm.
climate change, infrastructure, economic policy. These aren't simple things.
Right. They take sustained focus.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if that collective capacity for critical thought starts to fade, the sources warn the consequences could be, well, existential for a functioning society.
So the risk is we become unable to think critically as a group or plan effectively for the future. We just get stuck reacting to the immediate.
That's the danger highlighted. Think about it. How do you tackle a multi-decade challenge like climate change if the collective attention span is optimized for, 15-second videos?
Yeah, good point.
You lose the mental architecture needed to even graft, let alone debate and act on complex long-term plans. It potentially undermines our ability to make sound collective decisions and keep moving forward.
Okay. That definitely frames the stakes. So that's the problem, laid out pretty clearly from biology to behavior to society. But the research doesn't just leave us there, right? It does offer a path forward.
Thankfully, yes. It focuses a lot on reclaiming what you might call our attention capital. And it starts with individual choices. What do we choose to value? How do we spend our time?
Right. And the advice seems pretty concrete.
Very. Things we've touched on. Move more, get that BDNF flowing,
Yeah.
eat better, reduce inflammation, prioritize sleep. That's when the brain cleans house, consolidates memories,
Okay.
and maybe critically, consciously reconnect with your actual physical community.
Yeah.
Get back some of that real-world interaction, that diversity of thought.
And then there's the direct counterpunch to the screen issue. Put down the phone, pick up a real book. Why is that specific action so emphasized?
Because it demands effortful, sustained attention in a way few other things do anymore. When you hold a physical book, your sensory input changes. It's just you and the text. No notifications, no flashing lights, no easy way to just click away.
Right. It forces focus.
Forces focus.
Yeah.
It rebuilds those executive function muscles, attention control. Focus that constant scrolling weakens. Even just say 20 minutes a day sends a signal to your brain, hey, deep work is still important. It helps pull you out of that default state of hyperdistraction.
But like you said earlier, it can't just be on individuals reading more books, right? If the environment is part of the problem, we need bigger changes too.
Yeah, absolutely. This has to be tackled systemically as well. The
Well-
sources point to schools, legislators. They need to invest in public health in ways that support both physical and mental well-being,
Mhm.
not just test scores. Heavy investment in early education is key, building attention skills before kids get totally swamped by the digital world. And policy needs to address the root causes of stress, like ensuring fair access to healthcare, education, economic opportunity. because inequality drains cognitive resources.
And what about technology itself? It feels like the villain in this story, but does it have to be?
Good question.
Mhm.
And no, it doesn't have to be. The potential is there for tech to be part of the solution, but requires a fundamental shift in how we use it,
From what to what?
from passive consumption to active creation and connection. Right now, so much of tech is designed to just hook our attention and keep us scrolling, consuming.
Yeah.
But we can choose to use these amazing tools differently. Use them to learn a new skill in depth, to collaborate on a meaningful project, to write something complex, to truly connect with people. It's about making sure you are directing the tool rather than the tool directing you. Being the user, not the product.
So, if we try to pull this all together, the core tension seems to be this feeling that the world is just moving too fast now. And maybe we feel like, well, this decline is just inevitable. I have to keep up.
Right, and that feeling itself, that pressure to constantly keep up, is kind of a symptom of the problem, isn't it? It's what pushes us towards the shallow end, what steals the time needed for real thought.
So maybe the answer isn't about keeping up at all. Maybe the big takeaway from all this research, from the biology to the behavior, is actually simpler. Maybe the key is to consciously slow down.
I think that's a powerful way to put it,
Yeah.
because what's really at stake here isn't just about being smarter or having a better memory. It's about preserving our capacity for depth, for connection, for empathy, for the kind of thoughtful, long-term reasoning that arguably makes us human. It's about protecting our humanity, in a way.
So here's the thought we want to leave you with. What would slowing down actually look like in your life? What one thing, maybe an endless feed, a constant notification, some relentless obligation, could you consciously choose to put down, even for a little while? And what deeper thing, a book, a real conversation, maybe just some quiet, focused thought could you choose to pick up instead?